Good morning and welcome to the Media Speaks Live Saturday morning news show for this Independence Day, July 4th, 2015. I'm D-Lake for Prez. I'm joined this morning by Sam I.B. DeGangi, Sam of the Correct Views, and the band passing time, Samuel.
Greetings, unsettled souls. Welcome to the Saturday edition.
Excellent, Sam. We're also joined by Kyle Phillips of themediaspeaks.com, one of the founding fathers of The Media Speaks. Nosehair 515. Kyle Phillips, how's it going?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me on. Excited for the show, D-Lake. Excited to warn all those frogs in boiling water.
Ribbit.
Yeah, have you ever been to Sibel Edmonds' website, Boiling Frogs? It's a good website. I recommend everyone check that out. Today is the 4th of July, Independence Day. There's a lot of parades, relay races, picnics, marking the event of today being the 4th of July. Millions of Americans today are gathering for Independence Day parades, picnics, and hot dog eating competitions. I know Kyle really loves that. Defying worries over possible security threats. Sam, if you would like to address the security threats coming out of ISIS and other Middle Eastern propaganda, you know, apparently today it would be a good day for the terrorists to attack us. Sam, what do you think?
I think it's one of those issues. I hate when you're watching something and it starts singing at you. Let me pause this. My page is refreshing, my dear listeners. All right. I think if you predict anything long enough, it's going to happen. Like, if you wake up in the morning, and my mother, God rest her soul, I've mentioned this on air before, every time you were going to go anywhere, whether it was Cedar Point or a skateboarding competition or anything you were going to do growing up, she always said, well, you know it's going to rain. No matter what day you pick, you know it's going to rain. Sooner or later, if you do that, it is, in fact, going to rain. Sooner or later, you're going to be right. You know what I mean? And I think that was a lot of what was happening with this ISIS threat. Obviously, it's the 4th of July. It's the founding of the country. No, it's not just about fireworks. We shoot off fireworks because we like to bring all of our friends in and talk about what the country means to us, and have parties and have gatherings where there's large numbers of people together in one place. And obviously it's a target. For them to hype it like that would imply that the average citizen is even dumber than they really are. It's Anthony Court looking more and more like Gary Johnson. You look very presidential today, Court.
Oh, well, thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Have you got some work done since we last saw you? Have you got some work done? Yeah, your lips are looking more perky.
Some lipo or some lip enhancement.
I plead the fifth on that while we still have it.
Anthony has naturally awesome, luxurious, thick lips. Please, everyone, welcome to please, everyone, his luscious lips. Please, everyone, welcome to the show. LL Anthony Court. Luscious lips, cool Court. He's on the show, and we're excited to have him here. One of the founding fathers of themediaspeaks.com. Court, how are you doing?
I am doing just fine. Happy July 4th to all of you out there and watching, and, of course, you gentlemen.
Great. Yeah, we're celebrating Independence Day.
I do want to mention
Independence Day today.
If, God forbid, there was to be an explosion anywhere in the country, and I mentioned this on my show, too, and I try to do this every time they hype the terror threat. If it was to happen, remember, just quickly, always remember, do not touch your mouth, do not eat anything, do not drink anything. Whatever you do, don't touch your eyes. It goes straight into your brain. If something has certain chemicals, certain biological agents, and all things nuclear, once they get in you, are far worse than they are when they're still out of you. Secondly, if you were to see an explosion and you would go to run to help, be careful doing that, because in many instances they have more than one car set to go off so that they can kill the maximum number of people. In the weird event that something would happen, those are the free 2 bits of advice that I give every time there's a terror threat.
And Sam, the Department of Homeland Security and the Federal Bureau of FBI and the DHS have issued an alert asking local authorities and the public to remain vigilant for possible threats following recent calls for violence by Islamic State leaders. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo ordered increased monitoring statewide for the holiday weekend under the direction of the New York Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services. In New York City, the nation's biggest police force assigned about 7,000 officers and nearly all its counterterrorism personnel to handle security around Independence Day events. In Coney Island, reigning champion Joey Jaws Chestnut sought to defend his title in the annual Nathan's Famous 4th of July International Hot Dog Eating Contest, Kyle, where he set a world record in 2013 by gobbling 69 francs.
Is this the same article that you're reading?
Oh, yeah.
We both these things in one article?
Miki Sudo will seek to hang on to the women's title. Miki Sudo, she set a record for the women. Yes, this is all in the same title, and it goes all to today's top headlines about worries on the 4th of July surrounding the security.
And I wanted to say, it said in the beginning of that article to stay vigilant this 4th of July. And for anybody watching outside of the United States, what they mean when they say stay vigilant is for the next day, we're supposed to question people's accents and, like, glance every 30 seconds at anyone who's alone. That's what Americans do. That's our version of being vigilant.
Yeah, and if anybody wearing a burqa turban is carrying a backpack, then they're automatic suspect.
Right.
You know, according to that new report, though, it's white extremists, conservative extremists that are the real threat.
Flying the Confederate flag.
If terrorist attacks follow the trends of presidential elections, I'm gonna go for like it seems like, you know what I mean? Like the past few elections, we've been getting more and more progressive with our candidates, which I think isn't necessarily a bad thing. Maybe like the next terrorist attack will be a woman. I'm going to be a feminist on this one. I'm going to keep an eye out for women with Southern accents. They're most likely.
Interesting choice there, Southern
That's
women.
sexist.
If you eat 69 hot dogs, will you be one of the people that had the rainbow on your Facebook page?
You don't eat them, Sam. You gobble them.
D-Lake knows a lot.
Anyways, there's. I previously read this article. There's a lot of good stuff in here. One of our other topics is in regards to North Carolina and the recent shark attacks that have happened there. Revelers on the beaches of North Carolina were warned by the National Park Service to use extra caution after 7 shark attacks were recorded in the state by midday Thursday, surpassing the previous high of 4 in 2014, according to the International
Is this an
Shark
article, or did somebody
Attack File
transcribe a schizophrenic person talking?
Well, I find this article on Yahoo News to be, pointing out a lot of good stuff. I mean, I want to talk about the watermelon seed spitting contest, Kyle, and also celebrations in Texas feature country music legend Willie Nelson. Now, this is my favorite part of the article. Nelson's all-day picnic held this year at the Circuit of the Americas racetrack outside Austin, Texas, typically draws tens of thousands of people for a day of drinking, music, and frequently an illegal substance often associated with the Texas musician.
PCP?
Now what could that be? PCP?
Willie Nelson's known for PCP, right?
I thought it was marijuana, but what do you guys think, Kyle? Or Court, what do you think? Marijuana, possibly? Any marijuana being smoked at the Willie Nelson Festival? Court, you're on mute. Go ahead.
Yeah, I see that. Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I highly doubt that. I mean, Willie Nelson.
You highly doubt it?
I mean, there's just, everybody's just smoking the ganja. I mean, what else would you do? I mean,
I just wanted to go
can't
to
imagine.
Willie Nelson.
Willie Nelson on crack. I don't know how that would be, man.
I want to see a Willie Nelson
guys,
concert.
Guys, look, let me just put it out there that
You just need some Scooby snacks.
Heroin, crack, PCP, those aren't national celebratory illegal substances, okay? I think we're talking about marijuana here, but Kyle, please continue.
I want to go to a Willie Nelson concert really badly because I feel like it would be like usually when you go to a concert it's all like-minded people, they're all into the same band, but a Willie Nelson concert I feel like you'd run into a lot of people who hate weed and a lot of people who love weed at the same like it would be very like there'd be a ton of dudes in like cowboy hats and cowboy boots and shit and like a ton of dudes wearing like hemp hoodies.
Yeah, there'd be a bunch of hippies and then a bunch of cowboy stomping rednecks.
It would be an interesting crowd.
Usually, all the
Yeah.
news you hear about Willie Nelson, it's all has to do with marijuana. I mean,
Or
Mhm.
taxes.
yeah, taxes or was it his bus that got where they found I don't know how many pounds of marijuana on it and he got in trouble for it. That was a couple of years ago.
I like
Well,
a Willie Nelson concert is just as confusing of a crowd as like when Aerosmith did. Who was it? Run DMC.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
When they, like when they didn't walk.
Dude. Oh man. Well, we're already getting into a lot of entertaining stuff, but seriously, I was probably in maybe a freshman in high school or still in junior high when Run DMC did the cover of Aerosmith's "Walk This Way," and I was playing video
it
games.
wasn't a cover. It wasn't a cover. It was they worked together.
Yeah, but it was a cover.
They worked together, but it
It
was
was a joint effort cover, yeah, where they merged songs together.
Yeah, they made it
Kind of like
together.
Pull
But
down that
Public
wall.
Enemy had done just a couple of years
Yeah,
later.
Public Enemy, yeah.
it was like a reboot. But the thing is, I remember playing video games at a Bo Weevil hamburger joint, and the song came on, and there was this older white kid that was like being really like sort of racially defensive of the original Aerosmith music. Like, and I still remember him using the N-word when I was like in junior high, and just like he's like, these N-words are ruining the Aerosmith music. And anyways,
these niggers
the 4th of July has no place for racism. The Confederate flag, we've got to take Dukes of Hazzard off the air.
These niggers are fucking up my Aerosmith.
They're inciting the race war. I mean, they've been setting the stages for a while. I mean, ever since we've had our first black president. Most of the things he'd comment on, I mean, that we had the whole Trayvon Martin thing, and they tried calling Zimmerman a white guy when he's really Hispanic. They've been setting the stage for that. And then weren't there KKK leaflets showing at people's doorsteps in Los Angeles just recently?
People were handing out KKK leaflets.
Yeah, or they were appearing on people's doorsteps, and you got them. I don't know if it happened yet, but there was talk of them holding a protest regarding the Confederate flag. I mean, that's the last people you want to say, "Oh, well, the Confederate flag isn't racist." There's a bunch of
Stop it.
a group of
you guys, but there's only like 7,000 of them, and that's on high estimates. Like, there's barely any KKK people. Like, what are the odds the people putting KKK pamphlets on people's doorsteps are actually KKK, or just like real life trolls working together?
Yeah.
It could be possible. But I mean, just think, 9 out of 10 things you see in the news nowadays, it's all about race and white cop kills black teen. A lot of that's been their agenda as of lately, and I think.
Well, I think it's what sells, and I think we're dealing with a transition in media right now from the old analog stupid systems to the new digital internet systems, and that these news outlets are struggling for something to get the viewers in, to get the page clicks, to get the revenue in, to get the sponsors, and this is something that will still get somebody to buy a newspaper, and they're desperate.
Well,
and so
it's to get people pinned against each other about these issues, while they do things.
I think that's secondary.
as
I think
usual.
the true motive is you get people pinned against each other, and you can sell more newspapers. I think that their intent is as malicious as if we divide people, they will buy newspapers and they will still watch CNN for a few more years. Like, it's weird. I don't think that they're malicious. I think they're just desperate. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, this is what they'd rather have us discussing than any sort of bills going through Congress as well. I mean, they control the debates that we have at the kitchen table, or people hardly even who really eats at the kitchen table anymore. But in general conversations everywhere. Instead of talking about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, they'd rather us be talking about racist cops. I mean, and I'm not saying racist cops don't exist. Of course, that's a big problem, but it's sort of like look at
I
this.
don't think that it's. I don't think it's what they'd rather have us talking about, though. I think it's what's easier to get us talking about. It's harder to get people to talk about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, and they're not going to buy a newspaper that says TPP across the top because they don't know what that is. They'll buy a newspaper that says white cop shoots black teen. And so I mean, it's kind of irrelevant what the nature of it is because the outcome is going to be the same. But I agree. Like, it is. I think that the reason that it's happening is just a desperate media. I think this is a temporary issue that we're seeing. I think you give it 10 years for all of them to go bankrupt and disappear. And
well, yeah, but during the whole, I mean, it's just like the whole rise of feminism, and we're getting candidates like Hillary Clinton. I think it plays to the puppets we've had in power. I mean, that's my opinion. You can disagree with that, but. It's always Obama saying, "Oh, well, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon," or and we got the whole gay marriage issue was at the forefront for a while, and that along with the Confederate flag, people taking the Confederate flag as an offensive symbol, racist symbol. Despite anybody's opinion on that, people look at it like it's a heritage thing, but I don't know. It could be just to get views as well. I mean, that's what the media does. That's how they survive. That's how they get people to advertise on their website, or that's how they get sponsors to say, "Oh, we had this many viewers." Of course, you want to talk about the most controversial thing you can to lure people into your game.
Bruce Jenner's transition to becoming a woman. Call me Caitlyn. Obviously, big news, bigger than TPP. Obviously, this week they said that Caitlyn. It looks like Caitlyn needs a fashion intervention. She was wearing some really terrible outfit. But Court, you were just talking about Hillary Clinton. Also in today's news, her competitor, her closest competitor at this time, appears to be Bernie Sanders. Bernie gets biggest crowd in Iowa. A big, giant crowd in Iowa, about 2,500 people. Still very, very early in the race. A reporter was given a chance to question Hillary and asks her about her favorite flavor of ice cream. Anthony.
Because that's what matters, D-Lake. Regarding Bernie Sanders, I sort of feel like...
But wait,
go ahead.
Real quick, Court. Her answer was she likes nearly everything when it comes to ice cream, okay?
Yeah, whatever color ice cream puts her off.
Yeah, she doesn't want to offend anyone by saying she doesn't like chocolate.
Yeah, because that could be considered racist.
Mm-hmm.
No, but she didn't say the rainbow-colored ice cream, the Neapolitan colored ice cream, did she?
Mm-hmm. Real quickly, before I get your thoughts on Hillary Clinton's campaign and where you think it's headed, Court, because I think that you believe she is the inevitable frontrunner. If we could just ask Sam and Kyle real quickly, what are your favorite flavors of ice cream? That seems to be a very important question. Kyle, favorite flavor of ice cream? Okay, Kyle looks frozen. And Sam is on mute. Sam, do you have a favorite flavor of ice cream?
I like anything like Moose Tracks, possibly pretzels in it. Very good.
Oh, you're a pretzel guy, huh? What about you, Anthony? Favorite flavor of ice cream? Hillary Clinton? Is that your favorite flavor?
I don't want to know what that would taste like.
Oh, God.
I'm sure Bill has forgotten what that tastes like.
Yeah, he's like, what? But, do you feel that Bernie Sanders is any sort of threat to Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign, Anthony?
I sort of feel like Bernie Sanders is like the socialist version, Democratic version of Ron Paul. That's my opinion. I don't personally think he's going to get as far as people might say he would. If you were to talk to any mainline liberals, just like you would talk to any sort of mainline conservatives who only know a few names. They could name Marco Rubio. They could name Ted Cruz. A handful could only name Rand Paul. Only people that are actually paying attention to things that happen every day know about candidates like Sanders and Rand Paul and whoever, Gary Johnson. That's just my opinion. He's obviously going to challenge her as a candidate. I personally think, though, this has been decided. We go along with that whole presidents are selected, not elected mantra. Yeah, it is funny, but it seems to be the case. They put Obama at the forefront of the last 2 elections ago. That was 2008.
And when you say they, did you have any thoughts about the recent Bilderberg meeting over there in the what was it, like the Swiss Alps? And do you think that the 2016 president has already been decided by the superpower elite known as the Bilderberg?
It very well may have. Personally, from what I've learned the last few elections, the last few years, is that it may not even matter. Whoever gets in there is going to do what they want anyway. Otherwise, they wouldn't make it there in the first place. But yeah, I personally think that with the bigger wave of feminism coming through. I mean, you see a lot of a lot of our followers probably know who Paul Joseph Watson is. I think he sees the rise of feminism coming, and it's just set the stage for candidates like Hillary Clinton. And he sort of takes it to another level. He like bashes feminists left and right. I think true feminism is equality of men and females and men. But what we've been getting though is that one is superior than the other, and we've had the opposite a lot. Like men think they're better than women, whatever, that classic. Mostly in a jokingly manner, but. There has been a rise of feminists, women being on their own. I have nothing against that. I mean, I'm all for equality.
Well, I mean, Court, we do have penises, so that does give us an advantage.
Exactly. There you go. That's that whole Ron Burgundy, mantra, like men have bigger brains. That's science. That's
Yeah. 5 out of 10 times it works every time. But Kyle. You dropped out. Yeah, 60%. Kyle, you dropped out. Now you're back. You missed my question. Your favorite flavor of ice cream? It's a pressing national question. When a reporter was given the opportunity to ask Hillary Clinton a question as she was getting ice cream, he wanted to know what was her favorite flavor. And so I feel that's an important question. And Kyle, what's your answer?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
I just switched to a new device. My favorite flavor of ice cream is fucking cookie dough. Duh, it's got little chunks of cookie dough in it.
Yeah.
You need to be a scientist to figure that shit out.
It doesn't take a scientist.
No, cookie dough is the best.
Speaking of scientists, I found an interesting report that was linked from the Drudge Report this morning. Scientist claims immortality is within reach. Kyle, a visiting American research scientist, says he is close to discovering a cure for aging, that he could have a drug ready for testing by the end of the year. Molecular biologist Dr. Bill Andrews told TV1's Sunday program that humans shouldn't have to suffer the ravages of aging. He says that aging is a disease that should and could be cured. His research centers around telomerase. Telomerase are small caps at the end of our chromosomes that become shorter every time our cells divide. When they become critically short, we age and eventually die. Dr. Andrews believes that he can find a small molecule that will trigger the production of telomerases in the body, which will lengthen the telomerase and stop or even reverse the aging process. Well, look, I just watched Jupiter Ascending, and it's obvious that humans have been around for millions and millions of years. They own the whole universe, and we do all this genome engineering, and then we have a harvest where we take the life energy of people on a given planet, which gives us sustained lifelines. And so, do you think that that's possible, Kyle?
I actually just watched that movie pretty recently too.
Yeah.
I don't want to sidetrack, but that movie was horrible.
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, but I mean, there.
I was like,
obviously-
Mila Kunis, fucking what's his name, fucking the dick
Channing Tatum was he was obviously a genome engineered spliced with wolf DNA somehow, but then he had wings and jet boots. I don't know. Kyle,
Was the one bad guy, was that the dude who played fucking Stephen Hawking in the movie? Was that the same dude?
The guy who talked like this the entire movie.
Was that the Stephen Hawking guy?
I'm not sure. I don't know. I didn't even see the Stephen Hawking movie, but they want to know if this guy is a quack, a fraud, a wacko, or if he's
No,
really.
I've heard multiple people talk about this. Joe Rogan just had a guy on recently who's a doctor who is talking about the same type of stuff, considering aging as a disease, not as a part of life, and what can we do to reverse it. And like he was talking about how if you could keep everybody at like the age of like 20 years old, like at 20 years old, your body heals so much faster, it's so much more immune to shit. Like you're like aging and cancer are like directly related. Like young people are very like not likely to get cancer at all. So if we can reverse aging, like how many other things just go away with it?
I did a big report on that. It's 6/25/2015, and it's under the section Forever Young. And yes, it was covering a lot of his work. If you get a chance, listen, just click that.
Are we talking about the movie Death Becomes Her, where they make that tincture where they could just they take it and their boobs pop up out and make them look younger, or what?
Well, you're thinking of Hocus Pocus. We were talking about Jupiter Ascending.
Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, but they basically in that movie, Jupiter Ascending, they go into like what you would probably commonly refer to as a fountain of youth, right, Kyle? And the liquid is powered by the harvest, and the harvest it takes like 100 humans to equal like one bottle of vodka that they put in the water that you soak in. So it's like for every 100 humans' souls or DNA or something,
They can make like one
revitalizes.
bottle of human juice.
Yeah, they make a bottle of human juice and then they bathe in it to be young again. Like she comes out of the water.
That sounds
like,
horrible. Human
I'm young
juice.
again. And on the planet,
This is not a pornographic movie. Let's just make that clear.
They want to live for like millennium and like 91 millennium. But like Kyle said, it's a pretty terrible movie. I guess I was just talking about some of the wacky, weird science of it all. But also in today's headlines, guys, according to the Drudge Report, there was, we're all celebrating today as the Independence Day, the 4th of July, and we are celebrating the United States no longer being a part of the British Empire. Independence Day is commonly associated with fireworks, parades, barbecues, carnivals, fairs, picnics, concerts, baseball games, family reunions, and political speeches and ceremonies, in addition to various other public and private events celebrating the history, government, and traditions of the U.S. What's that?
I thought we were just supposed to barbecue and drink on 4th of July.
Yeah,
Well,
festivals too. I went to a festival yesterday and barbecuing and drinking today.
We definitely need to be drinking today. That's why you see Kyle there with his bud, and D-Lake has a beverage here. And the reason is so that the local police can set up DUI checkpoints, and they probably rake in the cake today for all kinds of driving violations and drinking and driving and stuff. Or they set up the checkpoint on the premise of drinking and driving, but then get you for all kinds of other shit, raking the dough. Sam, how do you feel about that?
I think the entire DUI laws as they're set up is nothing more than a money racket. It's really only the people that are level 3 DUIs that are bothering anybody at all. The entire system behind that is a money racket for the state. They do all kinds of tricks. They'll put they'll put somebody in a car that's deliberately got its alignment or whatever terribly off and say, "This is what you drive like on a beer." It's like reefer madness.
Oh, they put the beer goggles. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember health class, but they brought in beer goggles. It said, try to walk straight. And, you know, at this point, you know, I'm sure all of us at least had a beer in high school or a couple.
I've been drunk. It ain't like this.
You're like, dude, it's not like this at all. They're like, how would you know? You're like,
So yeah, I had a teacher, a health teacher, who was a nice guy, but he had this robot that, like, he would take cigarettes that he got, like, the confiscated smokes that, like, from kids, and he would go out into, like, the field behind the school, and he'd put a cigarette on this thing and light it, and he'd pump it, and it was supposed to synthesize smoking, and it had a piece of paper inside of a bag that had, like, pictures of, like, lungs on it, and he'd pump it, and it would go through this bag, and he'd smoke, like, 5 cigarettes through it, and pull it out and be like, look, it's completely black. And I'm like, yeah, but to be fair, like, when you smoke a cigarette, like it's in and out. What you just did was you just, like, dosed that fucking piece of paper with just pure smoke for, like, 10 minutes.
yeah, it's like you're taking bong rips of tobacco and holding it in for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, you're zeroing that shit.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. That reminds me, the confiscated cigarettes. I swear everybody would try to go smoke at the tennis courts. They'd always get caught there. It's like, it's the worst place to go and smoke, kids. If you're still in high school and you're watching the Media Speaks, don't smoke at the tennis courts. That's the worst.
No, go across the street off school property, because that way the most they can get you for is ditching. They can't get you for smoking because you weren't at school.
Yeah, but we digress. They're telling kids how to get away with smoking.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
Children, don't do that.
Children. Yeah, no, they're trying to make smoking. You have to be. They're trying to make it that you have to be 21 years old to smoke in California. They already passed that law in Hawaii. Did you hear about that, guys?
No.
No.
So in Hawaii, you have to be 21 and over.
On the wrong side of everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that just actually reminds me of the mandatory vaccine bill just passed in California, signed by Governor Jerry Brown, and the guy Jim Carrey, who actually was against gun rights not too long ago, a couple of years back. I think that was during the Sandy Hook shooting. He came out against people who were pro Second Amendment.
Yeah, he was in that video, right?
Yeah. But now Jim Carrey is coming out condemning California governor as corporate fascist in a Twitter rant. Did you guys read his Twitter rant?
Mm-mm.
I got it pulled up right here, and I don't know if I could screenshot it. I'll just read it. It says, California governor says yes to poisoning more children with mercury and aluminum in mandatory vaccines. This corporate fascist must be stopped. And that was on June 30th. Another tweet on June 30th, he goes, I am not anti-vaccine, I'm anti-thermosol, anti-mercury. They have taken some of the mercury, laden, thermosol out of vaccines, not all. And then he goes on to say, the CDC can't solve a problem they helped start. It's too risky to admit they have been wrong about mercury, thermosol. They are corrupt. And, one last tweet he shared. All we are saying is take the neurotoxins out of vaccines. Make them toxin-free. History will show that was a reasonable request.
And who is this?
Jim Carrey.
Very nice.
Yeah, you know,
like you said, like he's been anti-gun in the past before, but like let's remember, like Jim Carrey is not going to Bilderberg meetings. Jim Carrey's just a dude, and like he happens to be like I know people who are anti-gun who aren't malicious people or anything. They're just not well informed on it, whatever. So it's like to me that shows like he's a real dude with real concerns. I can. All right.
But I know a few people that are anti-Jim Carrey. They just don't think he's funny, or they banned him after his after his gun comments.
The movie The Mask and the Cable Guy almost ruined his career. So
hey, I love Jim Carrey as long as he does play that character. It's when he tries to play serious roles that I'm out.
The Cable Guy, I love that movie. It's fucking.
You know what?
I was watching an old Dirty Harry movie the other day, like a couple weeks ago, and I totally realized Jim Carrey was in it. He played like a musician in it or something, and I was like, dude.
In an old Dirty Harry movie?
Yeah. Well, it was like the second or third one. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but there was a guy. Actually, Liam Neeson was a filmmaker in it, right? And there was somebody trying to kill Liam Neeson's character, and one of the scenes he's shooting a music video, and Jim Carrey's like the guy singing it, and they're playing. I think they're actually it was a what's it called? Oh, I can't think of the band's name right now. The Hot for Teacher song. It sounded like that.
Van Halen?
Yeah, Van Halen. Yeah. It sounded like they were making a music video for that, and it showed Jim Carrey as the one like singing it. And I was like, wow. Sorry, totally off topic. I guess it's relatable to Jim Carrey, but yeah, it was a serious role that he played, and there was that one vampire movie he played in a long time ago, and yeah, his serious roles
not so good.
Yeah, they suck.
I like the Cable Guy. Yeah, they suck. They're really
yeah,
good.
I liked that when I was a kid, but it wasn't well received. I mean, it was like Ben Stiller's first film, like that he made, I think, directed.
Yeah, right. They're Asian. They're definitely Asian. But going back to that scientist talking about immortality, Kyle, do you think that we'll see science develop towards immortality in our lifetimes? I mean, are you going to stay the same age you are now, you think? Or?
No.
Are you going to be pissed because it...
I know one of the ways that they said that it was going to work was they would be able to... There would be a certain round of injections you would have to receive, and then you would likely have to do so again later. Like, it didn't necessarily say that it would prevent it permanently in the
it's not permanent.
One that I had read.
Yeah.
I saw they did some studies with rats where they were able to get rats to reverse aging, but after a few years they developed a taste for other rat brains. I actually made that up just now.
For blood. Sounds like a good beat. We can make a horror movie out of that.
Oh yeah, immortality leads to cannibalism. I think that's a start of a really good movie. Anyways,
sounds like zombies.
Today's 4th of July. There's jitters. It marks worries over security. We talked some about that. The shark attacks in North Carolina. How do you guys feel about those? 7th shark attack recently.
I just read an article on that Thursday. There's no more shark attacks now than there've ever been. It's just that they've been it's the way they've been reported on because they happen to be in close proximity. As far as like globally, shark attacks are about average.
Yeah, there actually hasn't been a shark attack where I live in a really long time. How about you, Sam?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. I must say, it's been a minute.
No sharks in the
You guys are
river.
nowhere near you guys aren't necessarily in a coastal states there, but
No, but pike
You hear
have-
all these
pike
PSAs for like, don't start fucking forest fires and adopt kids and donate your fucking car and like don't overtext people. I want to hear a PSA that's like they do like the drunk driving where they do the reenactment of the accident, like my arm is broken and all that. Do one where it's a reenactment of a dude gets eaten by a shark and then they play it in reverse and he's like, you know what? I'm not going to swim today. And it's like, don't want to get eaten by a shark? Don't go in the fucking ocean. That's my PSA. 100% preventable. 100% preventable.
Well, the way they're reporting on this, it's sort of like the whole Ring of Fire. They're like, oh, there's so many earthquakes happening right now around the Ring of Fire, but I mean, there's so many earthquakes that aren't reported. They happen every few minutes. There's an earthquake on the world somewhere. But I hear a lot of conversations like, oh, there's been a lot of earthquakes lately, and some of the conspiracy people I've talked to, of course, they think it's the beginning of the Ring of Fire.
It's like, no, there haven't been more earthquakes. There's just more internet, and so you hear about them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fear mongering comes out. Go ahead, you.
Well, just another worry sort of involved on today's 4th of July is forest fires. And I had a part here where they're talking about they were banning fireworks shows in Cupertino, California, and Anchorage, Alaska's largest cities also canceled fireworks shows amid worries about forest fires. Communities in Washington State and Oregon also restricted or banned fireworks for fear of more blazes. But in an interesting story that happened this week, a woman in Northern California, she got lost on her way to her parents' house, I believe. She gave birth on the side of the road. She was lost. She ran out of gas. She gave birth. She was fighting off bees, and mosquitoes were like trying to get into the placenta.
Yeah. Oh wow!
And I was trying to get them not to sting her, the daughter, and I got stung trying to keep them away from my baby, the baby, and but they went into the placenta. Oh my God! And she thought she was gonna die.
You can't say that on the news, D-Lake. You can't say placenta on the news.
Placenta, placenta, placenta. As a last-ditch effort, she started a signal fire with a lighter and hairspray to try to catch the attention of anyone who could help her and her baby. The fire quickly spread out of control. The fire just went whoosh and shot up the mountainside. Amber Pangborn, the mother, said, I was looking at Marissa and I was like, I think Mommy just started a forest fire, honey. But the forest fire enabled the U.S. Forest Service to detect the blaze and quickly respond. Firefighters in a helicopter discovered the mother and daughter in their car a few hours after Pangborn started the fire and were able to take them to safety. And she was just crying, and she was so glad someone had seen them and that they were going to be okay. The quarter-acre fire is still under investigation.
Wait, this is right now?
This just happened this past week, where the woman was stranded. And she just had her baby on the side of the road after trying to take a shortcut through the forest. You know, it sounds like the start of a pretty good story there. She runs out of gas, and then to save her and her baby, she tries to signal a fire that sets like a whole mountainside on fire.
She definitely should have given that baby a cooler name.
Marissa?
Yeah, Marissa's pretty lame. Like, you could name that kid so many things, like Scorch.
Fire baby, yeah, Scorch, Firestarter,
Pyro.
Pyro.
Yeah.
Roadside.
Human
What's her
Torch.
last name?
Sunspot.
Sunspot.
Yeah. We're going Marvel and DC here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey, you know what? Talking about this subject, you and me here in California, there's a lot of the drought issue going around.
Sure.
Up in it's just north of here. It's I think Bass Lake. Instead of a fireworks show, they're having a laser show.
Ooh.
And
Oh, well.
that's just because they're fearful of starting a fire. That it's so dry.
Yeah, let's be fair. That's reasonable.
Yeah, that's reasonable. A lot of people don't realize, it's 4th of July.
Holograms are cool, and colored light shows are cool. I mean, everyone seemed to like when they lit up the White House like the rainbow flag. I mean, seemed to enjoy that.
Yeah, will they have red, white, and blue today? We won't know until it gets dark, I guess, unless they did it this morning.
They fucking better.
They'll accidentally put up the Confederate flag one, and then everything will just go south. No pun intended.
Where are you guys on the whole Confederate flag thing? I want to hear where everybody's at.
I think pun was intended. Sam and I talked about it a little bit last week. Let's get Sam and Court's thoughts.
Go ahead, Court. You've been gone forever. It's good to hear your voice.
Well, it's a tough issue because I personally don't think there's any problem with displaying a Confederate flag because it is part of this nation's history and it's people's heritage, and that's my own personal opinion. I also think people have been comparing, then we should just show up the Nazi symbol because that's heritage, trying to mock anybody that says it's Southern heritage and history. We can't have, in that case, we can't have any Civil War reenactments. People forget that towards the end of the war, Confederacy was actually beginning to enlist black soldiers. Were promising to free people who would join. And, I'm not saying that makes them completely innocent and that makes them okay. But it's a sign of the South. It's a classic sign of the South. What's his name? General Lee was originally going to be was requested to be on the north side, but to stick to his Southern roots and principles, he became a general of the South. And people are, instead of being concerned about what will really affect us, are concerned about the label on a piece of cloth. That's generally my thoughts on it. I mean, I think it's freedom of speech, freedom of expression to show a Confederate flag if you wish to. I mean, that's.
See, I think it's your right to show any fucking flag that you want to. I think it actually seems like such a stupid issue, but it's really not. It is complicated because like people will give you the argument. All right, well the Civil War was about more than slavery, and I've gone down that rabbit hole, and I've done a lot of research, and was it about things other than slavery? Absolutely. It was about import tariffs. It was about federalism. It was about a lot of things, but it was a lot about slavery too. And here's the real question is you can say it was about import tariffs and you can say it was about federalism, but having that said, without slavery, would the Civil War have happened? And the answer is no. But on the other side of that, a lot of people, when they're wearing something with a Confederate flag or they have a Confederate flag license plate, that's truly, in their hearts, not what they're trying to say to you. In the same way that if one of your buddies calls you a faggot, like 99 out of 100 times he is not referring to your sexuality. He is not even thinking about gay people as he says that comment. So it's like, well, what matters more? The fact of the history or the intent? And I heard Dan Carlin say recently, well, what if we amended the Confederate flag? What if we came out with a new Confederate flag? And his idea was like, you have hands busting out of bondage in the middle of it or something to show and represent, like, this represents our heritage, but not this piece of it. What about that?
Well, I completely agree. Something that I actually can think of right now is I like heavy metal music, and one band in particular that displays the Confederate flag a lot from Texas, Pantera. Well, they were a band. I knew I'm not saying just because I know a black guy that liked Pantera that means that the Confederate flag's okay, but they wear the Pantera shirt that has a Confederate flag on it. It doesn't mean that he thinks we should revert back to 1800s and have slaves. That's not what that means. If I wear a Pantera shirt, it has a weed leaf on it, has a Confederate flag on it, doesn't necessarily mean that I support what the Confederacy or Jefferson Davis is my man. But it's just ridiculous. I think it's just I think personally, I think it's a distraction issue. Hey, there you go, exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I think I used to have that shirt with the stripper pole and the Confederate flag right there.
Right, and he's got his guitar as a Confederate flag.
Yeah, Dimebag Darrell's guitar, Confederate flag. I knew plenty of black musicians that loved Dimebag Darrell. Not once did I hear them denounce him for having a Confederate flag on his guitar. No, it only recently has become an issue because I think it's the liberal media just finding something to get their base offended by.
The reason it all started is because, like, the North Carolina Capitol, right? And, like, my understanding is that that's not
Charleston, the shooting in Charleston, the Dylan Roof story that we covered 2 weeks ago, Kyle.
Remove the flag slowly. That's hilarious. But my understanding is that that's not even a Confederate flag, right? It's like the state flag, like Virginia or some shit. It's like a very similar flag.
South Carolina.
A lot of it had to do with the right of secession, too. A lot of the Confederacy, it wasn't... I know a lot of people have said that and I think D-Lake and I touched on it last time, certain people in the South were remembered because of what they did right, not what they did wrong. And a lot of people look at the flag as a symbol of the South and a symbol of the right to, states' rights and the right to secession if you want to do so. And that has completely been lost to history, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at the American flag itself. The red stripes on it stand for the blood spilled by patriots to defend freedom, is it not? The same flag was used by people who, at the time, supported slavery before. So it's really not that much different. I mean, if you want to talk about symbolism and,
And
I feel like I have to interject and say, like, from the rational mind of, like, a 21st century human being, it's pretty difficult to make an argument that the Confederate flag is about freedom. Like,
Well, to the South back then, it was considered the rebel flag. It was them defending their way of life. I mean, and whether or not we agree with that, I mean, of course, I don't agree with enslaving people to work, but
I don't believe in federalism either.
yeah, more or less, we're imprisoned by the banking system right now. I mean, it's of course not based on the color of our skin, but of the ignorance of that we're taught to just accept it.
Simply put, there's bigger issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so some might say that then the American flag and today is the 4th of July. I mean, come on, guys. But some might say the American flag, we need to put that down, like Farrakhan will say. And Rush Limbaugh predicted, okay, it's going to happen. That's something Sam and I talked about. And then the next day, it was like Farrakhan's like, yeah, we need to put down the American flag. Look, no one's putting down their American flag on the 4th of July, asshole. Anyways,
pretty soon they're just going to be flying a United Nations flag everywhere, and
I'm gonna make my own flag.
It was about 2 or 3 months ago that I went out to eat with a friend of mine. We were at a cool bar and grill. They have TVs everywhere, and this commercial that I have on my screen share was playing. I'm gonna play a little bit of it. I don't have the sound on, but just watch the visual. Okay, I can hear it. This is the Dukes of Hazzard in an insurance commercial. There they are. They're aged. They are the Dukes of Hazzard. Now, watch the footage. Kyle, you will never once see the roof of the car in this Auto Trader commercial. Why? Because it traditionally has the Confederate flag on the top of the roof. Now, this commercial came out months before the controversy that's happening now after the Dillon Roof shooting. But even at the time, I fucking called it and said they will not show the roof in this commercial. And have you seen the roof yet? No. Look, they're doing jumps.
Show it at all.
I'm like,
you know what?
look,
Actually,
they won't show the roof.
I noticed that when I first saw the commercial too, and I had a few friends on Facebook in Texas criticizing it. It's like, you're going to show the Dukes of Hazzard. You have to show the whole. It's the General Lee.
See, I'm not offended by that, though. That's the market making a decision that it's better not to show it than to offend people. That's doing it through, like, natural culture. Like, I'm okay with that because that's the people deciding that they generally don't want to see that.
That was essentially the corporation making the decision that we're not going to show it in this commercial, right?
It's their prerogative to do that. You're right, Kyle.
Exactly.
And I honestly think in the next, 50 years, the Confederate flag is going to go away. 50 years from now, you're not going to see it on fucking license plates on the back of jean jackets. I really do think that.
You see, but I don't know. I just think that they're breeding a bunch of pussies, though. I mean, come on, guys. You can't show a Confederate flag.
I couldn't agree with you more. That we are breeding pussies and that we need to pick our battles. But I do think in the next 50 years, it's not going to be because people are scared to have a Confederate flag license plate. I think it's just because people are going to generally see it in such poor taste. I don't think it's going to come out of fear. I think it's going to come out of just there not being a demand for those products.
Well, and now they got a new car. It's got a sunroof instead. But, there you go. Nothing on the roof in their new car at the end of the commercial there. But what I wanted to point out, and Kyle, you're right. It was the decision of the people that made the commercial to not have it on there. But just this week, TV Land, which shows all the old shows, they took Dukes of Hazzard off the air so that no one sees the Confederate flag. And some film historian guy says we need to put Gone with the Wind in a museum. Like, never show it again. Just put it in the museum because, it involved the Confederacy. And I mean, one of the main memes that I saw in regards to the Confederate flag, and we're talking about flag banning and stuff again this week, is that it's really an attempt to delete history. And how do you guys feel about that? Do you think that this is an attempt by the mainstream media, or if the certain states or administrations are involved? But, I mean, do you feel that this is an attempt to sort of, delete elements of our history? What are we going to do? Delete slavery and make it look like America's always been the greatest, best place for everybody?
Well, see,
I mean,
that's the
come on.
problem. I think history is important to remember. Obviously,
So that we're not
we're
doomed to repeat it, right?
we're doomed to repeat history unless they can't just take out. Okay, then they might as well not teach anybody what the Civil War was. They might as well not teach anybody about how America was created.
I think you got to be careful not to combine things. Like, none of us wear bell bottoms, but like, we don't there's bell bottoms in 70s. Not like people wore bell bottoms in the 70s. Like, that doesn't mean we have to wear bell bottoms now.
I could be wearing bell bottoms right now, Kyle.
Yeah, speak for yourself, Kyle.
I'm
I
offended.
saw something.
How dare you?
You guys could all be wearing bell bottoms.
He really.
Would you give me $1,000 if I pointed the camera down right now and I was wearing bell bottoms?
I might. If you just had fucking bell bottoms on. But you know what I mean? Like, we don't need to erase it from our history, but we can stop using it going into the future if that's what we culturally decide. And that doesn't include taking shows off the air because of it, but like, I bet that if you follow a trend of like Confederate flag bumper sticker sales, I bet there's been less over the past like 50 years, and I bet there's been less.
How about that?
Yeah,
have Confederate flag stickers skyrocketed there?
Just this week, I had a friend ask me if I would make him Confederate flag stickers because he can't get them on Amazon anymore. Sam and I talked about that last week. Their Amazon bans the sale of Confederate flags. TV Land takes off the Dukes of Hazzard. I want
don't forget the second half
chicken
of
in
that
bikini
deal.
to take her shit off
Still
slowly.
sell Nazi flags.
Yeah, but they still sell the Nazi and the communist propaganda. Is that right?
I think one of the most alarming things is that, and again, this is the huge distraction. I'm let down by this, but it's not gonna affect my damn vote. Rand Paul thinks that the flag could be offensive to people, and he's not a real big fan of it himself. He's not talking about banning it, but
Exactly.
But he doesn't want it. I think he would be in favor of letting people decide to keep it, but he doesn't want to keep it.
Yeah, I saw that post.
There's people saying they won't vote for him now. I'm like, there's something wrong with you.
That's fucking stupid.
Well, the only reason I wouldn't is not just because of that. It's just because of so many of the principles that he's basically pushed off of the back burner, even that his father was so adamant.
Okay, yeah, Rand's not wrong. We all know that, Anthony. But seriously, like,
Dealing's a Donald Trump guy, if you didn't know.
I am leaning that way a little bit right now. It's still very early, and I actually swore that I was not going to bring up Trump this week, but since Kyle did, no, I'm just kidding.
It has been in the news. I don't think it's a bad thing to talk about with Donald Trump.
It has been in the news, and Macy's and Univision and all their Latino community and Mexican community lobbyists are pressuring those corporations and companies to sever ties with Trump. I think personally it's going to bite him in the ass. I don't really want to get too much into it. I think some of his comments were a little bit off. He was sort of rambling when he said them. I think when I've read them in print, I think that they've been typed wrong, personally, the words that he said. I think he's being misquoted and demonized in the media. I think he will come out above it, stronger and better. But that does lead into a good look at Kyle. Fuck you, Kyle. Kyle. Okay. So I'm gonna ask you,
You're really pulling for him, man.
Look.
You can see how he's trying to. Do you tread it carefully?
No. The first Republican debate is next month on Fox News, and Fox News is the one that is going to set the parameters of only 10 people when the Republican field is closer to 16 plus, nearing 20, but only 10 will be represented on that stage. Kyle, who do you think is going to be the 10 Republicans on that stage if you want to use your fingers to count? And do you think that Trump will be on that stage? I'm saying Rubio, Paul, Bush,
Christie,
probably Perry. I think Santorum over Huckabee. We'll have to wait and see about that. I think Trump will be there because Fox knows he gets ratings.
Ted Cruz will be up there.
Who?
Yeah, of course Ted Cruz will be there.
Cruz will be up there.
Yeah, Ted Cruz. Didn't I say that? Okay. Well, Rubio, Cruz, Paul, all the senators will be on there. And who else? Carly Fiorita. You think she'll make the stage at that first out of 10, top 10?
It's possible.
What about what about Ben Carson? Okay, let me get
that's
you
very
guys.
possible.
Let's get your top 10 Republican picks. Who do you guys think will be on stage?
No, I agree with your list.
That they're not my top 10.
I can't think of anyone
That's probably who will be there.
Not your top 10. I'm saying Fox News' top 10.
Well, I think their top candidates are going to be Marco Rubio. Sorry, Kyle. Go ahead.
No, if it was my choice, it'd be like Jesse Ventura, fucking Adam Kokesh, like fucking throw Jill Stein in there for fun.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura.
Justin Amish.
Okay, they're not Republican candidates, guys.
That would be great to see them come up on the stage, though, and start debating the Republican candidate.
What if they just randomly threw Jesse Ventura in there, like with the rest of the people you expect, but then fucking Jesse Ventura right
What
in
if
the
he was the host? They brought him in as a guest host.
Why? What is this?
I seem to be on a stage.
Hey, they cut my microphone.
That'd be
I
awesome.
can hear it now. You know what? In recent.
I had to wear a shirt for this.
I think it's time to go. Sorry, that was good. I think it's time to bring Tyrell Ventura back on the show. See what him and his dad have been all about as of late. I know Buzzsaw kind of had a hiatus for a while. Is he back on that now? What's up with that?
I'm not sure. I haven't seen it in a little bit.
Yeah, I got his phone number laying around somewhere. I'll give him a call and see if he wants to come back on the show.
Prank call him as Jesse Ventura.
Tyrell,
this is
Tyrell,
Tyrell, I can't find the hashish. Do you know where I put it?
Hey, Kyle, you got any science music? I got a quick one.
Don't.
Yeah,
My soundboard's broken.
Well, let's get into Sam Science. If everyone can spit a few lyrics. Sam Science. It's the science.
Science.
All right, guys. CBS News. How fireworks work. The science behind pyrotechnic displays. I'm not going to go ahead and read all of his commentary. I'm going to cut straight to it. It says it's mostly a matter of chemistry. They're a result of carefully crafted chemical reactions. John Conkling, an adjacent professor of chemistry at Washington College and author of a textbook on pyrotechnics, recently demonstrated that the science behind fireworks in a video for the non-profit American Chemical Society. So they're using generalizations here, but there's a video up at CBS News. Without chemistry, you wouldn't have the burning mixtures. Without the burning mixtures, you wouldn't have fireworks, he says. Fireworks involve chemistry composition that combines an oxidizer as a fuel. Chemicals are also responsible for creating the colors seen in the fireworks display. Copper oxide is blue, for those of you that want to make this yourself. Strontium chloride is red. Do not panic. It's strontium 90 that's bad. Sodium silicate yellow, and barium acetate is green. The fuel oxidizer and other chemicals are put into an aerial shell containing black powder propellant and a time fuse that leads to a busting charge. The major fireworks displays can involve tens of thousands of exploding shells and pyrotechnic effects. At this year's Macy's 4th of July Fireworks Spectacular in New York City, professionals from Pyro Spectaculars by Sousa plan to set off 1,600 shells per minute over the course of the 25-minute show. That's your very quick and, if you look at the video, very interesting news from the science front. There's supposed to be a sonic boom. That's it.
Can I say, since we've been, like, 4th of July and stuff, talking about fireworks a lot, people, please, keep an eye on your dog. Fucking make sure they got plenty of water, give them some treats, don't say your that. Like, for all they know, fucking the end of the world is happening.
Yeah, and if you got one of those relatives that have the bright idea of, like, taping together fireworks and combining the fuses together, Just hide your duct tape, man, before they get to your house.
No, don't hide your duct tape. Just keep 15 feet away from that dude.
Yeah, he's going to be drunk out of his mind. He's going to have a
me.
genius idea of combining an M1000 with a Roman candle. And
Yep. Yes, it happens. You don't know how it happens, but it does. I admit it does.
I'm gonna make a sparkler bomb.
Yeah, just light up some snakes, man. That's what it's all about.
You ever make a sparkler bomb?
No, I have not, actually.
You take a ton of sparklers and you electrical tape or duct tape them together like really, really tightly.
You're the duct tape dude, huh? I called you out on that.
You have one sticking just a little bit out, and then you just like light the one that's sticking out and leave it in a field. And it's like, depending on, I've seen somebody do one where they blew up a fucking toilet, like a porcelain toilet. I saw one where they blew up a fucking car.
How's that work again?
I don't science. I should ask you that, Sam.
You just duct tape? No, you said you duct tape these sparklers together.
Yeah, you duct tape like.
That's awesome.
You duct tape and you create like an air seal. It has to do with like compression, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like getting the Piccolo Pete's you could buy at the stands here in the United States, and you take a pair of pliers and you pinch it together in the middle, and when you light it, it actually makes a boom. You guys ever do that? You know what I'm talking about?
Wait, with what?
A Piccolo Pete, the ones that whistle all loud. You just light it and it makes a loud whistling noise. Yeah, I learned from having two older brothers. Of course, I learned this. You just pinch it together with a pair of pliers. You light it and it'll actually make a little boom.
Yeah, I'm trying. I don't know why my internet's being slow. I'm trying to pull up how to make a fucking sparkler.
Are you robo-kyling? I don't know. I don't think I robo-corded once this whole time, did I?
I've got like 100 computers on. Here, turn some stuff off. Does that help?
I think you're fine. It wasn't really lagging that bad. Not really noticeably.
I'm trying to find like sparkler bombs and shit are fun. Just don't be like retarded. Like you can have fun with fireworks and do stupid stuff that's like still safe. Like don't duct tape shit together. Like a sparkler bomb, you light it and you run the fuck away. Like.
Yeah, can we encourage everyone to be smart and safe on today, 4th of July, and also be vigilant.
Be vigilant.
Be vigilant. Don't start forest fires.
Don't start forest fires. If you see anything suspicious.
And remember that it's not just you that can prevent forest fires. Thunderstorms can prevent them too.
That's true. D-Lake, what kind of accent is that you got?
Accent?
Where are you from?
California.
That's racist.
California, huh? Okay. Keep an eye on that one.
Southern Cali. Got a problem with it?
We were talking about science a little bit. Did you guys hear about the worker that was killed in a Volkswagen robot accident?
Oh, I saw a headline, worker killed by robot, but and I actually heard people talking about it the next day at the 7-Eleven store. He was crushed.
Is this the beginning of Skynet, or is this the beginning of the Terminator here, where the robots are becoming self-aware? No, I guess it was a freak accident.
Yeah, I don't think it was self-aware. I think it was a freak accident.
He was standing in a safety cage when it occurred, I guess, and it wasn't a new generation lightweight robot that works side by side.
It sounds more like the beginning of Elysium.
Go ahead.
It sounds more like the beginning of Elysium than Terminator.
Yeah. Very
I saw the new Terminator, though.
Yeah, was that robot armed with a gun and looked like a armored skeleton? No. It was a device. You know what I mean? It was like...
New Terminator was alright, though.
Oh, you watched it?
Oh, did you see it? Oh, perfect segue in entertainment. How was the new Terminator Genesis Kyle?
Like, if you go into it expecting, like, what is that, the 5th Terminator movie?
Yeah, I guess the 5th one.
Yeah, I think it's the 5th one, yeah.
If you go in expecting the 5th Terminator movie, like, you'll be happy. Like,
was it at least better with the one before it? Was it Genesis or something, or what was it called?
Genesis was this one. The one before was
Salvation. Terminator
Salvation. I could barely even make it to the end. I thought it was.
Yeah, I like this one a lot more than Salvation. I'd put it on the same level as like Terminator 3.
And 3 was, I think, was acceptable. You know, there was a couple little kind of
There were some
shadows.
pretty good effects. There were like some parts that like didn't make sense at all. Like they didn't expect you to be overthinking the time traveling. It was kind of cool. Like,
Well, yeah. Can we address just the timeline? Because it looks like it tries to intersect the first and second movies.
yeah, it's weird. It's interesting how they did it. The timeline is it starts out in like the future, but that would be like I think it was like 2026 or something like that. Starts off in like the not too distant future, and they go back in time to I think it was 1984 or 1985, whatever the first Terminator movie was. But they go back in time from the original Terminator timeline. So the future that they're traveling from is the future where in 1997 Skynet took over. So they're going back in time from the original timeline, and then they go forward in time, which takes you like into like the very near future of our timeline. Does that make sense?
Nope, not at all.
Was it sounds more confusing than X-Men Days of Future.
All right. So in the beginning of the movie, they time travel back to 1984, which is where they need to go because in their timeline, in 1997, Skynet took over. So they go back to 1984, but the 1984 they go back to, the timeline's already been fucked up. So they go to the future again, but they go to the future on this timeline where Skynet didn't take over in 1997, and so they see people with like smartphones and shit. So like they go from the original timeline to our timeline.
Sort of makes sense. I have to see
I
it.
understand. Yeah, I guess you
You'll
kind
have
of
to
have to
see
see it.
Just
Were there any
need
classic Arnold one-liners in this one?
a million of them.
Arnold's character was definitely interesting in this one. Because like the idea was
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
yeah, it was good.
yeah.
Netflix, I'd give it like 3 stars.
Good is like entertaining,
Yeah.
worth a
It looked like they were throwing back the T-1000 in there. I think that's the interesting part.
Yeah, but he was Asian this time.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's the best part.
it was a good flick. I liked how they did like Arnold, like they brought up once or twice that like his metal skeleton like body, his robot body, that shit's like gonna stay brand new, but like over the time with the time travel, because he doesn't time travel, he like stays or whatever.
Yeah.
So like his body gets older, but he's like old body but not obsolete.
Yeah. So we have to explain. We have to find a way to explain aged older Arnold. Was the part where just from the previews, I don't want to spoil anything. I haven't seen it, so I don't know how I can really spoil anything. It's just what I know. But old Arnold battles like a computer-generated young Arnold, and was that part exciting?
Yeah, it was just like one
I've been waiting for you.
It was
I've been waiting
cool
for you.
because, like, the young computer animated, like, when they first showed him, like, and I'm not huge on, like, special effects need to be amazing or anything, but, like, when they first showed him, it's like, alright, well, he looks CG. But then there were other parts where, like, you weren't sure, and I think what they did is I think they layered it. I think they used, like, there were scenes where you'd see him from behind, and I think they actually used, like, a body double, and then when you needed to see him from the front, did computer generate it again. But it was like in like the fight sequence, it was very hard to tell like is that computer or is that real? So they did a good job with it.
They probably like copied and pasted his like young face onto a body double of some sort. I don't know. I mean, Hollywood special effects are awesome and amazing. The better they are, the better the movie's going to be. I think we can all agree on that. Like I said earlier, I watched Jupiter Ascending recently.
No, that proves you wrong though, because that movie had great special effects, but did not make it a better movie.
Yeah, you're right. It was. I don't know. I found a lot of elements trying like hard to be like the next Star Wars or something silly.
Yeah, no,
But,
you know what I saw that movie as? As I was watching it, my thought was like some fucking producers, because that movie had to have been really expensive to make. Like, some producers were sitting around like, this is going to be the next fucking Star Wars. This is going to be the next Harry fucking Potter. Like, it just wasn't.
with their fingers crossed. But I actually thought of you, Kyle, in that scene where they were where Chicago was getting like devastated.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
shows San Francisco. They always like to show San Francisco when they're destroying something in a movie, like the
San Francisco, Chicago, New York. New York, they don't do as much anymore though. I think it's more expensive now because you have to pay the city to do that.
And Hollywood itself has pretty much destroyed every monument in Washington D.C. already, right?
Yeah, Washington D.C., New York, Chicago.
Even in X-Men, what was it? 3? I forgot the name of it. They destroy. They show Magneto take the Golden Gate Bridge.
Oh, the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty
Vegas
awesome.
gets hit every once in a while. Fucking Con Air, Honey, We Blew Up the Baby.
Dude, Honey, We Blew Up the Baby. I haven't thought that movie in God knows how long.
Hey,
Rick Moranis got rich and stopped doing movies after that.
Moranis.
Yeah.
Sam, you had some entertainment news today, didn't you?
I was mentioning I was going to swear I'd gone yesterday. I went to see a band called Tropidelic. If you've never heard them, they're from Ohio. Make sure you look them up. They're really good. I had the most odd story on the way home from seeing them. I don't know. Maybe other people will find it entertaining. It certainly was for me. We're walking home, and from the club to my house, you kind of go through the hood, and there's this guy laying on his back on the grass on the sidewalk by the street on his phone. And our friends are walking down the street by dumb luck talking about serial killers. I forget who brought it up. So he looks up, and we're like, no, they're unrelated, and just kept on walking. We get to the fire, and we all begin to wonder, was the guy okay? So I'm the only one that goes back to check on this guy. We get there, there's no guy there. I'm just looking at the ground. The next thing I know, I hear this guy yell out his window, "What are you looking for?" So, Court, what am I going to say? I said, "A body." And he's like, "What are you crazy?" and slams his window shut. And that's pretty much there's Canton when you're walking home. That's Canton.
Canton, Ohio, right there.
Walking home looking for a body on the sidewalk. Okay. Tropidelic, I got there on the screen share. Sam, do you want to acknowledge your band that you went to see last night? Tropidelic?
Yes. Excellent band. Really, really good band.
All right, so everyone check that out on the internet.
Check it out on the internet. Hey guys, I gotta peace out. I gotta do stuff for this 4th of July.
Oh, wait a second. I think Anthony just brought up a picture of Sam on his screen share.
You guys see Penny Dreadful?
It does look like Sam. What's that from?
That's from that show, Penny Dreadful.
Sam,
actually,
all these weeks of entertainment news, you never mentioned that you were on Penny Dreadful. What the hell?
Hell yeah, now I got to see Penny Dreadful.
he looks a lot more pale. He's obviously more pale than you are. He's Frankenstein's creation in it.
I don't know how you get more pale than Sam, but okay. All right, Kyle, where can people find us on the internet?
On the internet. The media
Is that on
speaks.
the internet, yeah.
Search it, website, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere, all over the internet. No Instagram. We don't have an Instagram. Court, if you want to start an Instagram for the media speaks, you fucking do it.
Dude, I'm not hipster enough for that.
You gotta be a self-starter. I mean, Sam already got us on Tumblr, so I mean, come on.
I can't do Instagram, dude. I swear, it's like you have to be a hipster to be on Instagram.
I haven't even looked
at least female.
No, the correct views 69 on AOL Instant Messenger. All right, guys, I gotta jump out, but good show.
All right, yeah, great show. Thanks for joining us, Kyle. We'll see you soon, like next week, ideally. Guys, did you have any final last words that you wanted to express to our viewers and people watching about the 4th of July? I just want to say, be safe, be smart, don't blow off your fingers with fireworks or anything like that. Have a good time. Smoke weed like Willie Nelson, drink beer, have fun, but in a smart way. Don't drive home drunk. Have a designated driver. Guys, did you have any closing statements?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to tell everyone nothing wrong with having a big party. Nothing wrong with having barbecue, tons of fireworks. Make sure you do remember what it is about, at least at some point in your day. Make sure you, if you're a libertarian-minded, you maybe let somebody who had a few beers. So what's going on these days? Let them know what's going on. Maybe interest them in Gary Johnson or Rand Paul or Justin Amish or Judge Napolitano. Open up the conversation. And secondly, if you're going to launch fireworks, the best thing to do is to separate your couple people from your party at either end of the street, because everybody can see up and you can see the cops before they see you. Find me at The Correct Views at youtube.com/thecorrectviews. I'm also on Tumblr, same name, and thecorrectviews at hotmail.com. Good night, friends. God bless.
All right, great. Court, any last words?
Just go out and have fun, guys. I mean, don't forget what the 4th of July is all about. It was this. We had, the United States flag we have now. It had less stars in it back then. That was the original rebel flag. Nothing beats the original rebel flag. Us breaking off.
And fuck Britain, right? No.
Yeah, fuck Britain. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, even though now it seems that everybody worships Kate Middleton and
the royal family.
The royal family. Yeah, the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha family go by Windsor. But I digress with that. Beyond that, just remember what the 4th of July is all about when you're eating your cheeseburgers and hot dogs and drinking your beer and whiskey and all those American things.
Apple pie. It'll make it taste better.
Yeah, mix it all together. That would actually taste pretty horrible. But beyond that, don't forget what the 4th of July is all about. We might need to. You never know if we have to have a second one. Like you know what I mean, like another reawakening, another breakaway from the tyranny.
A revolution.
Another revolution. Yeah, exactly. Be part of the revolution, the information revolution. And that's it. I mean, I haven't been as active lately, but I plan on changing that, and it's great to be on the show again. Yeah,
great to have you, Court. Thanks so much for being on. I think we got it all out there. I'm feeling really good about it. Sam, did you have one last thing to say?
Pour juice on your chin.